growing up, yeah. This is for the one who ain't never had a love, yeah. This one's for the girl who don't feel like she's enough, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This one's for the cool kid playing on the school team, crying to himself cause he never had the prom queen. Head full of wants, but they said it's just a pipe dream, yeah. This one's for the kids like me, they never had one thing. The ladies always turn their cheek, but they ain't let the fat ones sing. This one's for the kids like me, kept working when they had nothing. When people try to take their dreams, they stuck it to them, please don't change.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Alex Cuesta Show. How's everybody doing out there on this Wednesday, July 30th, 2025? We are nearing August already. It is insane how quickly things always move. We were supposed to have a show last week that ended up getting pushed back and then eventually not happening. For those keeping score at home, yes, David isn't here again. He was supposed to be here. He's having some problems with his air conditioning, and he's just basically dying right now. So in order to not watch his death on screen, he was like, I'm not going to be here. And I'm like, I get it. You know, I'll make fun of him, and that's okay because it's good to make fun of your family, but it is okay. We will power through. So wherever you are watching from, whether it is Facebook, Rumble, X, Kick, YouTube, we appreciate you. And make sure you like, share, follow, subscribe. It's, you know, every person that watches counts, and we don't take any of you for granted, so we appreciate all of you. Go find us on the socials at the Alex Cuesta Show. And 2 weeks ago now is when we had our guest. I always say last week's guest, but 2 weeks ago I had the chance to hang out, talk to TJ Kidd. He's somebody I talked to a while ago, Jason Kidd's son. And we talked all about basketball. We got into a whole bunch of wrestling. So we had a whole bunch of stuff going on. So that was really exciting. It was fun. Go back and check it out. But I want to get to this week because this week is going to be interesting, and for a bevy of reasons, because I think we have somebody who is incredibly interesting, can be incredibly impactful and influential. And I'm excited that she decided to come on. So let's bring her on. She is Lucy Biggers. She is the social media editor at the Free Press and a former climate change influencer. Lucy, what's going on?
Hey, thank you so much for having me on.
Very excited to bring you on because, it's not every day that we get somebody who, as entrenched as you were, really crossing over. It's very, very interesting. But before we get to all that, I almost forgot. I'd be remiss to mention, rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. Two major passings. And I know there were a few more. I think we had like 5 major deaths. There was somebody from, I believe, Family Matters or Cosby Show. Like, we had a whole bunch of deaths. So rest in peace to the Prince of Darkness, the Hulkster. Did any of them have any impact on you? Were you an Ozzy Osbourne fan? Are you a wrestling fan?
I was, a passive fan. I can't say that any of them were really a huge impact on me, but I do feel like these celebrity deaths come in waves, right? They always come in 3s or 4s or 5s. Doesn't that always happen?
And what sucks is getting older is like when I was younger and like they died, my
Right.
parents would be like, oh, that person would be like, yeah, I have no idea who that is. Now it's like,
Now it hits.
I
Yeah, it's so
listen to Black
true.
Sabbath.
I know those are two tough ones, I gotta say. I didn't think either one of them were that old, but maybe that's because we're getting older.
Well, Ozzy, I've been expecting, honestly, because he
Yeah.
did so many drugs and everything while he
Yeah.
was with Black Sabbath. So like him, I'm surprised. The Hulk kind of came out of nowhere, and his
Yeah,
was
that was
cardiac arrest.
surprising.
Yeah,
Oh
it was
yeah.
cardiac arrest. So it's like it's one of those things you could never. But I mean, suspected steroids and those guys and stuff. So it's like that comes with that. So rest in peace to all of them and everything that's going on. It's incredibly sad. But now I want to get to you because you have basically popped off and had gone on the radar of a lot of people on the right because you had a viral TikTok go on where you were talking about the New York City candidate, Zoran Mamdani. And so talk about what you said there and
Yeah.
what made you make that video.
Yeah. I'm so excited to have this conversation. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
So, yeah, I think, where do I begin? No, like you said, I was a climate influencer for many years. So I was in the public eye for many years. And then, but I was very on the left. And then I didn't really make content publicly for 5 years because all my opinions changed just from growing up and having kids and living through COVID. And I'm sure we'll get into all those details.
Yeah.
But about 2 or 3 months ago, around Memorial Day, I was like, you know what? I can't go be on my deathbed one day and not have made content. Like, I love to talk. You'll know by the end of
That's
this
awesome.
conversation. And I always was like, I feel like I have something to say, but I was so afraid to come out against the left mob that I had left. So I started off by making content on my TikTok account because I felt like that was like a safe space. So I did like a 30-day series talking about climate because I was a climate influencer. And I did a whole series which is like kind of a cheesy title, but I know it works, was why, as a former climate activist, I now think the climate movement is a scam. So that was my series that I was doing
So let me
on
put this
my
into
TikTok.
perspective for people
Yeah.
too, because like I remember you now because you worked for Now This.
You remember me?
And I do
Right,
because
former days?
yeah, because I remember like Now This was everywhere and it
I
was
know it
always
was. We're
on
the
like
same age
Facebook
then.
and yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be 37 in November. So
Okay.
so
Yeah.
I remember like now, like as I like, obviously I look up my guests and things like that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I know why your face looked
You like
familiar.
recognize me, yeah.
So
It's
thing is
funny,
too,
I
well,
got interviewed by someone younger and they had no idea what Now This was. I was like, "So, Facebook was a big thing in 2015." Like,
yes.
it was like, I feel like I was a historian. So
So the thing
anyway.
is, what people need to understand is it's not like you were just somebody that would go and talk about climate. Like you
Right.
hung out with Greta Thunberg and
Yeah,
very
yeah,
much big with
AOC.
AOC when AOC was
Yeah,
on the rise and things like that. So you were a major power player in this whole entire game.
right. Yeah, and so, like, it's funny because when I started making content, that was the topic that I really wanted to talk about, was my issues with the climate movement. And so when I made that Mom Donnie video that went viral, that put me in a lot of people's radar, and it was the reason I think you reached out, and I've had a
Mhm.
million
Yeah.
press requests since then. I'd never expected that to happen. And
Well, thank you for
basically,
taking
so
ours here.
I know. So yeah, of course. Oh my God, I'm happy to take any conversations. But I was in my car and classic like white mom in her car, her suburban car seat in the back. Like you can picture it. Like I was because I actually live in Connecticut, so I was at the train station.
Gotcha.
I don't even live in New York. I work in New York City, but I lived there for many years. So anyway, I had gotten in the habit where I was making a video every day as an exercise for me to just get comfortable making content again and putting myself out there, knowing I was going to get heat, but whatever. So I just had this idea around when Mamdani won the Democratic primary. It reminded me of when AOC won the primary. And I think where I was working, where I work now at the Free Press, that was sort of a thing people were talking about. Was like, it's sort of like AOC. And I had the idea. I'm like, oh my gosh, I helped AOC win. And if I was 25, I would be obsessed with Mamdani. Like, I get the fantasy that he's selling. It's so enticing to the young mind. And so I just got in my car. I riffed for 3 minutes about how I would have fallen for that, how, for young people, when your frontal lobe's not fully developed, these
I
feel
mean,
good
mine's still not
policies.
developed.
I know. Well, obviously, but these feel good policies of socialism and free healthcare, free college, free apartments, whatever it may be. It sounds so good. It makes you feel so good, but you live long enough, you start to realize that these are the policies that lead to a lot of problems that we
Yes.
have. And I gave an example of how rent control in New York that passed in 2019 has led to all these empty rent controlled apartments. And I just sort of I just went off for 3 minutes, posted it, and I posted it on my Instagram, posted on my TikTok and my Twitter. And it just unexpectedly started going really viral. Like Bill, so then like Twitter, they'll like rip TikTok videos that like go
Yes.
viral, like random
Yeah,
accounts.
yeah.
So a random Twitter account a few days later ripped it and didn't even give me credit, didn't even tag me, don't even
Of
know who
course
I
not. They
am.
never do.
Yeah, of course they never do. I was like, hey, thanks so much. And then Bill Ackman like quote tweeted the
Wow.
ripped video and was like, "This girl's on to something." I'm like, "Does she
Pretty big,
realize that
yeah. But it's like,
35 with kids?" But
you
whatever.
know,
I was like, "We'll
it's
go
cr
for
well,
it."
you look young. You don't look
I know.
35. I will give you that. You look young. So it's like,
Yeah.
when, you know, you definitely don't look that. And so it's funny because I want to give a shout out to Pat Gray Unleashed. We've had Keith Malinak on the show before, the producer over there. And they're the reason why I did hear about you. They
Yeah.
played a good part of your video. And, you know, it's interesting with all the climate stuff. If you look at your TikTok, and I want to bring it up right here real quick, your TikTok, you have a ton of videos.
Yeah.
And like you said, as you're starting, as we're going down here, most of it is climate related,
Right,
you
right.
know, and with fossil fuels and things like that. So the Zohar Mamdani thing is interesting. And I've been a big proponent of, I want to talk about Mamdani less and I
Right.
want to talk about Curtis Sliwa more because, you know,
Oh, the
everyone talks
Republican?
about, yeah, everyone talks about Mamdani. Everyone talks about Adams. Everyone talks about
Yeah.
Cuomo. But you look at Sliwa, some polls, he's up to 22, 23%.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, we're about to be in August. He's not out of this thing by any stretch. And everyone's pretending like Mamdani already has it in the bag. So,
Yeah.
yes,
Well, I don't know
so
because okay, I have to say, like, I haven't even looked into his I haven't looked into his campaign a lot, but from even the I know the reporters, the Free Press have covered him and they're like, he's kind of a joke. Like it's annoying because the Republican Party in New York is
oh,
so unhealthy that
don't
like
get me started.
they should have
Don't
had a
get me
real
started on
candidate and
that.
the candidate could have won.
So
Like,
their candidate should have been Donald Trump Jr. Like, out of, like, I don't
mm,
understand why they didn't
that would
go
have been
for it.
smart.
But the thing is, when you look into Curtis Sliwa, he
Yeah.
kind of looks clownish with the beret. But
Yeah,
the
yeah.
guy started the Guardian Angels in the
Right.
1970s. That was
Right.
all about keeping crime, helping people. And I just think we need to do a better job messaging. This is his third time running. And
Yeah.
it's like the Republican Party just gives up when it's not that long ago that Rudy Giuliani was in there. It's not that long ago that Bloomberg won as a
Yeah.
Republican. So
I
it
know. It's such a joke.
infuriates
I
me.
mean, I actually think my favorite candidate weirdly is Eric Adams out of
I
the
hate Eric
3.
Adams. I
Oh,
hate
you
him
do?
so
You
much
hate him? See,
because
I feel
Adams
like
is a
he's a
political snake.
moderate. Yeah. I
I
mean, like,
well,
the problem is that they all suck. Like,
yeah,
let's be real.
yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
almost feel like it's just, like, messed up to say, but it's, like, almost like New York is getting what it deserves. Like, I just feel like New York wants to become San Francisco. So are you in New York?
I'm not in New York City, but I am in the Hudson Valley, so it's like,
Okay, okay.
I don't want that because what happens
No,
in New
I
York
know.
City trickles to us eventually,
It's
so
so
I'm
bad.
trying to battle here. So, I do have to ask this because
Yeah.
I've been a conservative my whole life. Our audience is very much to the right leaning,
Yeah.
and I think one of the questions that a lot of people watching this and things are gonna go, what really changed, right? Because
Right.
it's like you were very much entrenched in leftist stuff.
Mhm.
And now all of a sudden, all this years later, where kind of climate change is very out of vogue.
Right.
Now here you come arising talking about it and everything.
Yeah.
And so if I'm someone that's skeptical of,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe Lucy Biggers, I maybe don't trust her. Why should somebody trust you
Yeah.
that's been a conservative, has called out climate change, maybe researched it, knows it's been bullshit for years and years and years, and now all of a sudden, here you come. So why should somebody be like, you know what, Lucy, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt? Because the
Yeah.
one thing I hate about the Republican Party is that we sit there and we'll thrash against somebody, and you know, RFK Jr. is a perfect example. RFK Jr. sucks. I don't like the guy. But one thing, he's like, I think the COVID-19 vaccine should be looked at. And everyone's like, he's one of us. It's like, no, he's not. Elon Musk isn't one of us. Elon
Yeah.
Musk is
Oh,
a
that's so
climate change
interesting.
psycho. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
trust Elon Musk. So it's like
Yeah.
the Republicans are so very much like, give us
They're so
something and we'll love you
welcoming.
forever. No,
They're
we're
too
just gullible and
welcoming.
stupid. So it's like,
So I don't know.
why
I
should we believe you in a
Yeah.
way, I
No,
guess?
that's a really good question, and, like, I think it's more like coalition building, like, I
Yeah.
think that, like, talking about RFK and Elon, like, as examples, it's like nobody's perfect, but if it's going to get your guy across the finish line, like, I feel like that is what happened there. I think for me, was very entrenched in, like, leftist ideology just from, growing up, so we're the same age, so
Yeah.
we came up and my first person I was able to vote for was President Obama. And we're coming
Mhm.
off of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, a big economic downturn. And so it was like a no-brainer as an 18-year-old with Obama, and he's so smooth talking, it's post-racial America, like all that stuff. So that is the type of liberal that I was. And then I worked in Greenville, Mississippi for 2 years right out of college, which was 2012 to 2014. And I was at a local news station,
Mhm.
very traditional, very like like I think when the world went crazy, where it was a very diverse newsroom racially, and it was like not
Yeah.
identity politics wasn't even a thing, and like it was the most racially diverse place I ever worked, and it was not even like on anyone's radar. And I was with a lot of conservatives, and I wasn't like they suck. I was like, oh, I love these people, whatever. Moved to New York back because I'm from Connecticut, so then I got my job at Now This in 2014, end of 2015. I don't know, my dates are a little off, but whatever. End of 2015. And that's when like Bernie Sanders is on the rise. And so
Mhm.
to me, I just became a Bernie person, and it was about free college. I'm looking at inequality. I haven't lived a lot. So I'm just sort of absorbed into that worldview.
Yeah.
And then I'm in this newsroom in the 20 teens, and it was like so cool to be there after living in Mississippi and all these young people, and everyone's so racially diverse and interesting. And of course, we all just believe the same things about we want Bernie and we don't like establishment Democrats.
Yeah.
And then Trump won, and I think what happened was that the left became this sort of really crazy version. And maybe you're coming from a conservative perspective and you're like, they were always crazy, but this was my point of view, is that it became very like it became the oppressor oppressed mindset that now we're so familiar with. That's what took over the newsroom. And it was no longer like, let's fight inequality, let's get free college. It was like, oh, you're white privileged, like you need to go to the back, like you need to shut up. And I'm
You
like,
were only like one under the totem pole in victimhood. You were a white woman. Like
that's
the
all I
white
had.
man's the worst. The straight white man's the worst. You're a white woman and you're not
All
even a
I had
lesbian.
was
Like you're
that I was a
screwed.
woman. I know. Literally, I was like, do I become non-binary? Like, what do I do? I'm just
I
kidding.
mean, yeah, you got to do the
I
victimhood
should
fad, right?
convert. Should I convert
Yeah,
to Islam?
it really is converting into progressivism.
Seriously. So that slowly happened. And I made videos about this on my page where, as a young person, if you're not inoculated against this ideology and you're well-meaning, and people talk about this a lot, it's suicidal empathy, the empathy trap,
Yeah.
where toxic empathy, where you say, okay, of course I want to listen to different perspectives, and you're telling me I'm racist. Like, okay, so I'm going to sacrifice my own individual thought and my autonomy because I'm so wanting to make the group happy. And so
Mhm.
that's the water that I swam in for my 20s, from 2015 to 2021. And then that point, that's your profession, that's your friends, that's your colleagues. And so
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
becomes less about believing in the ideology and more about what you lose by going against the ideology. And so I
100%.
had a lot of internal conflicts about this stuff. And listen, I read Ayn Rand in high school and fucking loved it. Like, okay, so like but the thing is, I never like, I just was kind of going through the world. Like, I don't know, it's
Yeah.
almost if I had been brought up like very
Well,
Christian or something now, I feel like I would have had like, these are my foundational beliefs,
so
but I
I'll
was
tell
kind of
you
just going
this.
along.
A lot of it's not your fault because someone I think you should read it and read about is Paulo Freire,
Okay.
who in the 60s he wrote a book called Pedagogy of the Oppressed. And
Okay.
our schooling system is very much in the Freire mindset,
Mm,
which everything is politics. Everything becomes politics.
right.
Everything has you want to bring everything back to a political realm. And Antonio not Gramsci, there was another guy, Henry Giroux. He
Okay.
brought Freire theory into the schooling, into
Mm,
colleges in the 60s, and
right.
was in the College of Education and started teaching all the teachers how to do this.
Yeah.
And then it started to
Instructive.
trickle in. And now 40, 50, 60 years
Right.
later, it got to us 40 years
Right.
later in the elementaries and things. So that's someone, read the Pedagogy of the Oppressed if you want to kind of see the
Sounds
playbook of
depressing. Do I want to
it.
read it? Can I just chat
Um,
GPT summarize it?
probably not because ChatGPT would probably be like, he was great. Like,
No, I've
so
trained my chat GPT. I'm like, no.
no, he was
Well,
not.
that's interesting. I mean, like maybe I'll read it, but like I don't really want to because I'd rather be like reading like Douglas Murray. Like I just like am like more like trying to like build myself up. It's like, do I need to read it? I lived it.
So
But anyway, so
if you
yeah.
want to be semi-depressed, you could just go listen to James Lindsay's version on New Discourses because he
Okay.
basically reads it all and breaks it down.
Okay.
And I know people have demonized James Lindsay as of late and things like that, but James is a really good resource.
Okay. So yeah. So I mean, again, like you're saying, it's like, it's just like what you absorb. So
Hmm.
whether it was like the climate movement or, DEI, like I was just like all bought in. And
Yeah, yeah,
I think just living through COVID and leaving that job in 2021. And then I had a nonprofit job I was at for a year before I came to Free Press. I immediately, once I was out of Now This, like immediately started kind of going more like to the right and center and questioning things. So it was like kind of my natural, it was relearning what are my natural instincts around politics and coming back to sort of a small c conservative, libertarian, like I want less government. It's just sort of, I think, common sense once you take away all the ideology, and looking at a lot of the stuff that I was pushing and going, God, I was pushing like such a black and white view of the world. And it was also
Yeah.
very anti civilization, anti human. It was very anti West, which all of it is connected. And so it's funny, when I made the Mamdani video, that it's kind of what I've gone viral for. There's a lot of themes in it that are similar to the climate movement that is pushing this, oppressor ideology for climate movement. It's like,
Yeah.
we're the
Yeah.
North and we've oppressed and
It
colonized the
all
South.
walks hand in hand. It's
I know.
all, they're all critical theories. They came from a
Yes.
school in Germany. It's all critical theories. They all are like you said, oppressor versus oppressed. It's all about what you will call it. I'll think of it in a minute. But yeah, no, you're onto something there. And I love the fact that you kind of came out of it. Did you find that once you were married, ready to have kids,
Right.
that kind of a lot of that mentality changed as well, where you started to realize like, hey, maybe being married isn't a bad thing. Like maybe
Yeah.
feminism kind of lied about career only, and maybe having kids in a family is a good thing. They're not an accessory or an inconvenience
Yeah.
to life. They're awesome. Like, did
Yeah.
you see
I
that kind
yeah.
of helped?
Yeah, I think that obviously helps in a subconscious level, and just like
Yeah.
realizing your priorities shift. Like I was never like a hardcore feminist that was like, fuck men. Like I still had traditional values. Like that wasn't
Cool.
where I was the most radicalized, I feel like. But obviously, yeah, like me and my friends are all moms now, and we're like, wait, what bill of goods did we get sold? Don't get me wrong. I actually love working, and like I love choice. I think it's about choice. Like I think
Yeah.
feminism is about choice. Like, and so I'm so grateful to be born in this generation, not my grandmother's generation. So I love that I can work, but it doesn't make it not more difficult when you have to make sacrifices between seeing your kids and childcare and et cetera, especially at the phase that I'm in life.
Yeah.
But I think for me was also seeing during COVID, when plastic, which I had felt guilty for using a plastic straw for 5 years. And then it was like PPE was everywhere. Everyone's throwing their plastic, masks on the ground,
Oh,
and there's plastic dividers between every restaurant, every restaurant table. And you're going, wait a minute, if I save straws for the rest of my life, like this restaurant is using more plastic here than I will for the rest of my life. So like the math's not mathing, and we're going to survive. Like our civilization, our infrastructure can handle it.
that's the
And then,
first time
yeah,
I've heard it put that way. That I actually never that I didn't put 2 plus 2 together, and I think it's because I wasn't coming at it in that mindset.
yeah,
Like, for me, I've been like, "Oh, plastic straws have always been stupid. Like, we
yeah,
should use them. Plastic is, it's petroleum, right? Petroleum's in
right.
everything that we
Yeah.
see and use." So, I never came at it from that way of the hypocrisy of rubber everywhere on all the PPE, plastic
Yeah.
everywhere, and we're promoting it, right? We're
Right. Now
promoting
now the
putting
same people are
plastic
like,
on.
PPE, it's saving lives. Like, wear your mask. And I'm like, this is a lot of plastic we're wearing. Just
It's all gonna
saying.
end up in the ocean.
I'm gonna go throw mine in the ocean when I'm done with it. And then also, like, when the emissions were going down, because like the whole world was shut down and we couldn't see our family, and it was devastating. And it was like the emissions went down by like 5%. And I'm like, hold on. I'm pushing an ideology, a movement that ultimately wants us to be at net zero by 2050. And like we
Yeah,
shut down the entire world, stop civilization for 2 weeks. People can't see their loved ones. It's devastating. The economy's shit. And it was only down by 5%. So what does the climate movement want from us? Because I don't want to live in a world where the climate movement wins. Like, this is awful. And you just have to be pragmatic and go, hold on, like climate change, we can all like argue about how impactful it's going to be or not. Like I'm in the camp that
100%.
I think it's happening, but it's adaptable. And I think it's not as bad as the worst predictions that we thought. Like it's kind of whatever. We
Well,
can
that's the thing
adapt.
too. With the models, they never put in human ingenuity in any of these models.
Of
So
course.
even if you
Yeah.
agree with it, you have to kind of look and go, okay, wouldn't we try to fix some of this stuff if it's happening? Like, we wouldn't sit there and go, well, the water's level rising. Let's just go and stick our heads
Yeah.
deeper in the water. Like, we wouldn't do that.
110 million people live under sea level right now at high tide
The
because we
richest
have,
people in the world live
yeah.
along the coast and keep buying
Yeah.
coastal houses.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing indicator to me. If all the rich people gave away all of their gas guzzlers, moved into middle America, like, was like, you know what? We're going to go shack up in Montana. That's going to be the new hotspot. Then I'd be like, okay, maybe shit's
Yeah.
about to go down. Like, then
Yeah.
I'd get nervous. They're all still buying coastal houses.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
it's,
humans don't know what we don't know. It's such hubris. And
yeah,
like, I would not be surprised, like, if in 10 more years, we're like, actually, we were completely wrong. Like, I'm not ready to say that now because I feel like that's really like, I don't know, like the science like is emerged. Like, I'm just willing to keep going with what we learned. And what we know now is this is not life ending. It's more like a chronic disease. It's like a human living with diabetes. It's like we can manage the symptoms. But I lived with this climate alarmist anxiety for years where I thought we had 10
Yeah.
years left to live. Like I
And
lived
it's
with that
been
in my
10 years
20s.
for 50 years. And that's the thing.
Well,
It's
I
like
know.
the
Yeah.
research on like in the late 60s, early 70s when we were about to die from global cooling. And
Right.
then all of a sudden, Dan Rather does a report on 1972 saying, well, now it's actually the heat is rising. And then you listen to a lot of scientists, it's like, hey, y'all, we're coming out of an ice age still.
The
It's
media
like,
is so destructive. And I work in the media. And like that's a huge part of my content now where I'm like, guys, our information system is so asymmetrical in how it covers how it covers this issue. It's so fear mongering. And it's a bunch of
mhm,
activists in a newsroom who don't know shit. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
they don't.
And they like if you scroll my newsfeed, they'll be like, summers in Spain are being destroyed because of climate change. And it's like the beaches don't have sand and this and this. And I'm like, none of this is connected to climate change. It makes no sense. Like sand changes because of the tides. Like you're having a heat wave. Like chill
And the
the fuck
thing with
out. There
you,
have always been heat
Lucy,
waves.
do you remember back when even when we were younger, they would be like, "Don't mistake climate and weather. Weather
Yeah,
is
yeah,
different than
yeah.
climate." And now something happens and they're like, "It's a weather event." And they're like,
I
"Can't you see
know.
it's the climate?" It's like,
I know.
but the thing is, you're in the media covers for a lot
Right.
of this stuff. They know human beings have short memory spans, but I don't think they accounted for the internet and how many
Right.
friggin' autists there are that are out
Yeah.
there and will remember and find all of
Right.
this shit and bring it back up and never stop. So, it's funny how you're looking at it in that sense. And I think part of the problem is too, the media is dead. And the media kind of
Yeah.
we've had this beautification and glorification where we've always thought the media was supposed to be objective, right? And they were
Mhm.
supposed to give it to us straight and narrow. But then you learn about the history of why it is the third estate, right? And why we call it that. It's because in France, they use it as a propaganda arm. So it's
Mm.
like it's always kind of been abused. It's just
Mhm.
before we're kind of getting to now back to where media started, where back in the day, you knew that this paper was very slanted. It was like
Right,
even
right,
back to the founding fathers. You had papers you had the Federalist papers,
right,
you had the Anti-Federalists, and that they were known that way. They slanted.
right. Which
And
I think is
then
fine.
it's fine. And then we started to get this facade of no, 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 we're telling it to you
Right.
exactly. And then we get into like government conspiracies, which aren't even anymore, where they're like, no, we were using these,
Mhm.
trusted news sources. And it's so like, I don't know what the media is supposed to be anymore. I feel like
I
me and
agree.
you are better than anything we see because me and you are two people just sitting here having a conversation, right?
Right.
And then everyone else can decide for themselves, okay, Lucy's dope. I want to go follow her and see what
Yeah.
she says more. Or Alex is cool, or they're both cool. And we're gonna give them
Right.
so I
Or
think
like, I
like,
like this thing that she says, but I disagree with her on that. And
yeah,
I
that's
agree with you
okay.
so much. I think that independent media is so huge. I think Substack's been awesome. Like where I work, Free
Really
Press
good.
is the biggest publisher on Substack. Follow us.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like climate scientists and writers that I follow on Substack who have been pushed out of academia because they don't buy into the party
Mhm.
line. And so those are like my main sources. And I love them and I trust them. And they'll disagree on different things, but like I know that they're doing their due diligence and where they're coming from. And so what
Yeah.
I do in my content is a lot of it's like amplifying their work because my medium is these short form videos and they might be like nerdy men who like don't know how to do that. And so like
Oh,
it's kind
listen,
of
a lot of your geniuses are awkward as hell. It's like, I know I'm
yeah.
not a genius because I'm good at talking. You don't get both,
Yeah.
okay? Like, you
Wait.
don't get both. Like, you look at Elon
So
Musk. Elon Musk is like a really smart guy, but when he gets on stage, he's just like Mr. Robot. Like, you don't get both. You don't get genius IQ and gift the gab. And when you
dude, that
do, you're
is
typically a psychopath or a sociopath. Like,
dude,
that's
that
how
is
that works
so
out.
real.
I'm not saying like I'm dumb. I know I'm not dumb, but it's like I'm certainly no genius. That's why I'm not
We have
famous
to
or
play to
writing
our
these big
strengths,
things.
okay? We have to
We
play to
have
our
to, right?
strengths.
You have to play to something. So I'm
Yeah.
curious. Have you ever heard or read anything by Alex Epstein?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big
Oh,
guy, big
Alex is
Alex Epstein
fantastic.
guy.
And the thing that
Yeah,
I
I
love about
read his
Alex
book
Epstein,
Fossil Future,
right there.
and I loved it. He's a huge inspiration for me. I make a lot of my videos are inspired by him.
Did you read The
And
Truth About Fossil Fuels, his first one?
no, The Moral
Oh,
Case for Fossil Fuels, you
Moral
mean?
Case of Fossil Fuels. Yeah, did you read
No,
that
I
one?
just read Fossil Future.
Oh,
But
read
I
The
know
Moral
it's
Case.
like
It's amazing.
yeah. That's probably an easier one to like tell people to read as like
Yeah.
my reading list. No, so
Yeah.
I love that. I remember he was on my like Twitter account and like people would be like, he's a climate denier. And then like I was like, what is he? And then I checked out his stuff and I was ready for it when I was doing some self-education.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, his stuff's great. And I feel like I should give backstory. So like I read like Schellenberger's like Apocalypse
Mhm.
Never in 2019
Yeah.
privately. And I
Okay.
ate
Oh, you
that shit
in the
up.
dark.
Yeah. I literally was like, this is so good. Ate it up. But I didn't tell anybody about it. And again, like you're going back to like, how can we trust you? It's like you have to understand the social and like programming and the pressure when you're in group think, and that's your entire world. It's your
Yeah.
social network, it's your value system, it's how you define yourself. You think you're a good person because you care about the climate, you think you're a good
Yeah.
person because you're a Democrat, like all of that, like the amount of internal work and shifting I had to go through, it took me 5 years. And like you said, climate change, it's not as fired up right now as like talking about Israel or something like that. Like it's kind of
Which
not
is why
longer in the
Greta went to
omnibus.
free Palestine, right? Like Greta switched over, like, how dare you now kill people?
She's
Like,
lost in the sauce.
well,
Poor
she was
girl.
lost in the sauce when she was a 16-year-old being abused by
I
her
know.
parents and pushed
I
in front
know.
of the UN.
I
Like,
know.
can
I
we
know.
go arrest them for child abuse? Like,
I
and
couldn't
move
I didn't
fast?
see it. Like I was actually thinking about this today. I'm like, I'm so glad like I wasn't aware of what I am aware now, like during 2020 and during the
What's
20
funny is,
teens.
like, I've been a conservative. Like, my dad didn't raise me conservative. He didn't care
Yeah.
what I was, but like,
Mhm.
I'd hang out with him. My dad listened to Rush Limbaugh, and I know as you were probably growing up, like, he's the devil, right? Like,
Right, right,
and
right.
like, so I grew up listening to him, and whether I agreed or disagreed with him, one of the biggest things he always said is, I know what the left is going to say to me before I even give my argument. And that's where
Mm.
we need to beat the left. We always need to know what they're going to say. And I feel like there's so many now, and that's why you see a lot of conservative media is really good at knowing what the left is going to say.
Yeah.
Like, they are
No, conservative
very
media has
well
done
kept.
so well. I feel like Daily Wire has such good talent, like Megyn Kelly, Ben Shapiro. Like, I appreciate the right media ecosystem so much, and the left doesn't know what they're doing because this is the thing. The left is like lobotomized by cancel culture. So like they
Oh yeah.
cannot talk. That's why
Mhm.
they can't go on a fucking podcast because they're like, if I had to talk for 3 hours, like I would literally be like, huh?
Well, when
Like
they
that's
talk,
why
you get destiny.
well,
Like,
literally, I mean, that's like why Kamala Harris couldn't string sentences together because she did not know what she believed.
yeah,
I
yeah.
have a like my theory is that Kamala Harris is secretly a conservative, but like she's so warped by the groupthink that like she truly cannot speak because she's like, huh? Like she was like used to be a prosecutor. It was like a hard ass badass who like maybe actually was good at her job like 20 years ago. And then she
I
just
don't know.
went,
She basically enslaved a bunch of prisoners and like put them out for free work on the highways.
well, that's fucked up. That's fucked up.
When she was
But at
in, when
least she
she
was
was
standing for
when
something.
she was in California, she basically made prisoners do slave labor. Like,
Okay, but
she's a
the thing
terrible
is, at
human.
least she knew what she stood for, which was prison labor.
I mean, here's
What
the
does she
thing:
stand for now?
winning, power, and I think
Yeah,
that's the problem
running for
too.
California governor. Did you see that?
What's up?
She's not running for California governor. I was relieved to see.
So who's running? Because I know right now, there's a decent conservative running. The British guy,
Oh yeah,
forget.
yeah.
I think Hilton, something like that, but he's good. But we're in New York, in New York State. Hochul's being primaried by Delgado, and
Mm.
Lawler just announced he's not running, so we're hoping it's Elise Stefanik here. But that also puts
Oh,
us in a bind because then we go down one person in the House unless they get somebody else good there. So it's like
they'll
that
get somebody
political
else good
jump.
there.
I hope so. You never know. Listen, I have no faith in Republicans, okay? Zero. When you grow up as one, you have zero faith in them as a party because look at right now. They figure out ways to fail. We have every single part of power, right?
Yeah.
And what are they doing? They're slow walking everything. And I
Yeah,
know a
I'm
lot
not
has
as
gotten
like
done. Oh,
politically like 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 I don't know. I'm like they're not like my
don't be.
team really, so I'm
Don't
not like
be.
it's
so
like
fun, so
you're
bad for your
rooting for a
health.
team that always loses.
Oh my God, they
Um
really do.
yeah, I don't even know.
Listen,
It's
that's all my sports life. Like, I'm a Jets fan. Like, that's just me in general. I always root for the losers. So I want to jump into a little more climate because, like we mentioned, and I think you proved your case that people can trust you or not. And honestly, I love when people come over. Like, I just
yeah.
figured I wanted to get you to come out and talk about that because I don't want someone sitting here and going and listening to this whole show and going,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think she's a grifter. And it's like, no, fuck you. Like,
yeah.
you could think what you want, but, I think that I love when people come over, and I've talked to plenty of people. I talked to Siaka Massaquoi, who is over there, and he does a lot of funny things. He worked for The Wire for a little. He's at the Daily
Mhm.
Wire now, and he was another one. He was worked on Obama's campaigns and stuff like that. So it's like
Mm.
we get these turnarounds, and I love inviting more. Come,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
want all of you to come over, but I want you to enlighten us on some more climate stuff.
Mhm.
So right now, you talk about climate alarmism. What do you mean about climate alarmism? What are
Mhm.
they doing on the left to kind of rally up their base to get them going and alarmed?
Yeah, I think it's just what we were discussing a little bit before. It was just that the way that the media covers it, it's this foregone conclusion that like we're gonna die from this. It's beyond we're beyond fixing it. And this underlying narrative that like we as modern humans should be carrying around a lot of guilt and shame just for like the way that we live.
Yeah.
And so that's what I like carried around for many, many years, just this sort of cloud of judgment on myself and fear. And you almost like look at it in like religious terms. It was like this feeling of original sin. Like I'm born as a modern human and like, oh, I'm using air conditioning. Like I have gas in my car. And so I speak out on this
Crazy.
because I think the statistics are like half of young people, it's probably even more than that in, elementary school, they're getting taught this stuff and they have extreme anxiety and fear and anger about the state of the world when we're living in the most abundant society that's ever existed in the history of the world.
And in the
And so
United States, one of the most regulated and cleanest by far,
yes.
by
Yes.
far.
The
And
environment's never been cleaner. I mean, like, we're not living
no,
next to, like, these coal plants that they were living next to in, like, industrial age or where you live in developing countries and what they have to deal with there pollution-wise. So, like, just the delusion of Western young people growing up with all this fear and anxiety, and they can't see the forest through the trees. The education system is pushing this on them, and it's so wrong. I think it's a crime against humanity to
100%.
teach young people like this. So that's one of the things I want to speak out about. It's just this projection that we're awful and just bringing people back down to reality and giving them the facts like you've talked about, like that we are living in a very clean society. We have a lot of things in place that make our society clean, and it's so abundant, prosperous. We have choice, more choice than any of our ancestors have ever had. We have freedom, and to think that people are so disempowered by this alarmism to me is like such a like why for me, I guess, because it's just not even true when you dig into the
It
facts.
it isn't, but it's, like, so hard, like, it took you doing it yourself, right? No one could have came to you when you were at your
Right.
deepest. You couldn't have come on the show and talked to me in a calm, rational manner when you were in the deepest. Even if I was throwing at you the same facts, you would have been like, "You're a Nazi, you're a fascist, you
Yeah.
hate the climate, you wanna
You're a
roll
privileged
grandma
white
off a
male.
cliff, you privileged straight white male," like, and that's, like, so it's, like, it's so hard to get through that, and you touched on the kids. I have said on the show many a times. I think what the teachers do that is child abuse. And
Yeah.
we don't have a mental health issue in this country. We really don't. We have an issue of telling our kids at a very young age that if they don't do something, they are going to die. And when you
Yeah.
tell anybody that, that's going to freaking terrify them. That is
Yeah.
going to cause these types of things. Now you add, the whole entire thing about all the are you a lesbian? Are you non-binary? Are
Right.
you trans? And I refuse to say LGBTQ plus because the lesbian, gay, bisexual have
Yeah.
nothing to do with trans and queer.
Yeah.
They have no.
Yeah.
I grew up the son of a hairdresser. I grew up in freaking hair salons. I can tell you what gay men are and what they aren't. Right?
Yeah.
Grew up around them, and I
Yeah.
can tell you what a drag queen is, and they sure as hell aren't trans people. So it's
Right.
like it drives me crazy that we even that acronym's even used, but it's
Yeah.
another part of the abuse cycle, right? Because kids that are already being mentally abused are now going through puberty and at their most vulnerable time
Right.
when they don't know anything about themselves, they're being asked, "Well, you sure you're this?" And it's like, of course they're going to question it. So the abuse is insane right now with kids.
It's so crazy though, because I don't think that the people who are pushing it think of it that way. Like I even remember having this conversation a few years ago with a coworker about like when should kids learn about climate change? And this is before I had crystallized my values. And so I
Yeah.
was more shaky in what I believed.
Mhm.
And she was like, well, obviously, like you should be teaching it to them in like fifth and sixth grade. And I was like, I don't think that that's right. And she was like, well, they
No.
need to know. they need to know to be like
But,
responsible
like,
citizens.
why?
And
Like,
I
what
was
do they
like,
need to do?
huh?
Like, what do
And
they
it's
have
sort of
to
like
do?
this not
It's crazy.
understanding of like what children are and
Mhm.
protecting them and like sort of being like, no, they need to know to become like productive members of society. And so it's twisted in this way where that person's thinking, I'm a good person. I want them to be good people. They need to get locked into this
Yep.
ideology versus
Yep.
having a more protective mindset around it. And so I think one of the things that's interesting, like coming from the left, that I come up against when I talk to conservatives is that they're like, well, these people are evil. And I'm not saying that you're saying that, but like there's
Yeah,
this
yeah.
assumption that like, this is evil, they're this, they're that. And I'm like, but you don't understand. They think that they're good.
The
Like
rank and
that's
file
so
aren't
huge.
bad. The
Okay,
rank and
yes,
file
fine.
aren't bad, and that's the thing, and I agree with you. Conservatives need to come at this in a better way. It's like, if you know all the opposing data and you still choose to push it, then I think you're evil because 'cause you're one of
Mhm,
the leaders trying to get people to do it knowingly, right? But
right,
if, like you said, if you're someone like you who believes that this is the key to saving the world, right? Because
right,
you were quite literally like, you needed to do what you were doing to save the world. That is
right.
exactly how you felt. And I feel like there's a little bit of that radicalization on the right now, where
Mm,
yes, we are learning everything you're talking about, how everything's in a part of a critical theory. And that is definitely all branches off Marxism and collectivism and everything like that. And now they're all sitting there going, and just because they see it, everyone's evil on the left. And it's like,
right.
no, no,
Yeah,
there's powers that be that are pretty evil, I
right.
believe, but not everyone is evil. And I think we
Mhm,
need to give that grace to people, that it's
right.
like, arguing with you and fighting with you is not going to do it. You're going to kind of have to see it for yourself, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
kind of where we have to come at this, I believe.
Yeah, I agree, and I think I mean, I obviously, it's easier said than done, and when you come from a place where,
100%.
like, my life has not been ruined by any of these policies, but, like, if your life actually has been by
Yep.
different things, like, it's more real, I guess, so it's like if you're
100%.
insulated from that, so, yeah, it's just tough. I think that the distortion on both sides is really destructive because you obviously have people on the left who think every Republican is, like, such an evil fascist and,
Yep.
like, wants to make women handmaid's tales and thinks that,
Can
like,
we
Trump is
educate the
Hitler.
left on what fascism is, though? Can we please do it? Because
Yeah.
I've been on my crusade of like, the big secret is fascism is left wing. And I think people need to learn that. It's extreme left wing. And it's like, if you want to call us anything, it's like, call us divine right to rule dictators. Like, that's what the right is.
Use the
If you
more
want to go,
accurate term,
like,
please.
if that's what you want to call us, like, call us, be like, okay, you're god thumping dictators that wants to go back to divine right to rule. It's like, okay, at least you got the far right correct, right? And that's these psycho ass Christian nationalists that are rising up. Like, they
Right.
are the psychos. You want to talk about the psychos on the right? It's the
Yeah.
crazy Christian nationalists. Like,
Yeah.
I am a Christian. I believe in Christ. I
Right.
sure as hell don't want a country that is forced to be Christian where
Right.
we install somebody to go and be like, no, fuck those people. So it's
No.
like, I at least want an accurate term. If you're gonna offend me, don't call me like your furthest authoritarian. Like,
Yeah.
get out of here. Like, I at least want to be offended accurately.
Yeah, it's really hard because I think people have like TDS, and so that they're like just so
Yeah.
hyper focused. So that was a problem that I had where I was speaking out and I'm talking about Mom Donnie and such, and I'm getting such backlash from people being like, "Well, why aren't you talking about 17 million people who lost Medicaid, or this, or the
This has
genocide that
nothing to
you're?"
do with that.
I know. And I was like, "'Cause I don't want to talk about that." Like,
Yeah.
I was like, "I
Yeah.
just want to talk about this." So, like, just by not, beating the drum of that value system, like you get cast out really, really fast. And like, I don't know what's going to happen because I feel like the left's movement is so lost. Like, socialism is never going to, it might pass in New York, but I don't ever see it happening on a national stage. Like, if AOC gets put up in 2028, there's no way she will win because,
I don't know.
no, can I tell you why she won't?
Let me hear why.
Because she will never be able to negotiate with Xi Jinping and Putin and the RARGC, and
Yeah.
people on a fundamental gut instinctual level will not feel safe
Well,
voting
a
for
lot of
her.
male
And that's
Democrats
kind of
won't
what,
vote for her and they won't tell anybody. A lot of
yes,
guy
and
Democrats
that's like
wouldn't vote
what
for her and say,
Kamala,
yeah, yeah,
it's the same thing. I'm sorry, but
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
ultimately safety is on the hierarchy of needs the most important thing, and we need to feel safe. And so even if you're like, I want this, I want that, like you're just gonna be like, I cannot. AOC vote like negotiating with Putin.
I mean,
Like,
here's the thing. If the Democrats are smart, their crop is going to be they're going to ditch Newsom, they're going to ditch Whitmer, they're going to ditch AOC. They're going to look to Ro Khanna, they're going to look to Shapiro, they're going to look to Fetterman as a VP candidate. They're going to look to the people that yeah, they're all still leftists, okay? Like they are all still
But
leftists,
those
but they
people aren't
couch it much
popular.
better. But here's the
Fetterman
thing,
and Shapiro would never win the Democratic primary.
which is crazy because like there or honestly, the person I fear the most is if Matt Damon runs because Matt Damon is
Oh,
a
the actor?
the actor. Because have you heard him speak about things though? He is really well spoken. He he's lies about everything, but he knows how to say it well. Someone
Mm.
like that with presence that can go and
Yeah,
command the stage.
like
And don't
Obama.
get me wrong,
Yeah.
he's good looking. Guys think he's good looking. Women think he's good looking. Like looks do matter. If
Would
they
they
were
put someone
smart,
like that up? Is that
they
a rumor?
should. If they're not, no, but if they weren't dumb, they would put him
Yeah.
up and have AOC next to him, just doing whatever the hell she's told. That's a ticket that I'm terrified of. Okay, because the thing is, looks do matter. If AOC is just standing up there smiling, you're gonna
Yeah.
get a lot of dudes that won't vote for her for president. But she's just there as VP and she's hot, so let's
Yeah.
vote for her too. Like, well, the hottest ticket ever if we get up there. That to me, the Democrats are floundering. That's where I go if I'm them in 2028. Let's
my
get
God,
the
that's
hottest ticket, young hot ticket.
literally hot.
Literally hot. Matt Damon sounds good when he speaks, even if he's saying a whole bunch of horse shit. Or, and let Ben Affleck go talk for him because Ben Affleck is another one that speaks well, but he says a lot of horse shit. Like, this is where they should go if they're smart because their politicians all suck.
Yeah. No, that's so funny. Oh my God.
But don't listen to me, anybody on the left, because I'm giving you like inside baseball here. But but that if I'm them, that's where I go. People that can say it well and are known and fairly decent looking on the eyes, because then everyone's going to forget about what they're saying. Look at Mom Donnie. How many videos have I seen on TikTok? Like, we're going to have a hot mayor. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Ugh.
I've seen so many of those.
Well, I also wonder with Newsom, like, if you're tuned in to politics and you're like, independent media person, which is what we
Yeah.
are. And I think
Yeah.
the new divide is if you listen to independent media or your mainstream media. Like, I think that's a huge, because everyone I
Big
know
divide.
to listen to independent media immediately gets more center and becomes more pragmatic and leaves the very left wing. But if you're still in the very left wing MSNBC world, like people like me seem so crazy to you. Like that's
Yeah.
like the divide. They're like, what are you even talking about? Like, I don't even like you're in a paradigm that I can't even like relate to. And that's what I've noticed a lot. They're like, huh? Like, why are you talking about this? Whatever. But my question is like, I know that California is like a shithole. Like I
Mhm.
know the homelessness problem is worse than ever. Like I know about how the wildfires are a piece of shit and like Newsom like basically let it happen or like not let it happen, but could have prevented it. And the recovery has been horrible. But does that breaking through to the average Democratic voter, or like could he get like glossed up and put on the national stage and because he's a white male with a good jawline, do really well? And I think that he could. Because I think the average Democratic voter is not paying attention to what's going on in California.
He also got destroyed by Ron DeSantis in a one-on-one debate. So I don't know how he's actually going to hold up.
I didn't even watch that.
Yeah, Ron DeSantis tore him apart in a one-on-one debate.
Because
Newsom
he's
looked frazzled. He looked terrible. He's not that smart. And I mean, here's the thing. His biggest mistake lately, he's trying to look all cool. He brought on Charlie Kirk. He was just on Sean Ryan's show, and they've all made him look dumb. And it's like, I
because he
don't think
doesn't know what he believes.
he doesn't know. Well, he's trying to come back to the center after being so far left. And that puts you in hot water in the internet age. He would have been fine. He would have been president 20 years ago. 20 years ago, Gavin Newsom, book it, would have been a president.
Yeah. He
100%. Because
can't
you
hang
didn't
now.
he can't, because everything is there forever.
Yeah.
So, I don't think he has a chance. I think he'll be killed in the primary. He'll be one of the first people out in the Democrat primary. I
think it's JD Vance's race to lose.
See, I think Marco Rubio's has a better inside road. Because
Well, you heard also like the way that Trump talks about Rubio now, he'll like say Rubio before Vance.
Well, the thing is, if you look at it, Vance is just Trump's mouthpiece, right? He can't do anything. Where Rubio is implementing Trump policy. He is the one that fully, like Vance is just there. He can't, he has no actual authority. Rubio being Secretary of State has full authority. Everything going on across the southern border is all Rubio's doing. All the negotiations down in the southern border, because he's a Spanish speaker and native, a native Cuban, he has a better connection. So all the things going on in the South American countries is Rubio. He's negotiating major things around Europe and stuff. So when they come to the debate stage, Vance is going to be able to talk about all the things he did with President Trump. Rubio is going to be like, I mean, what do you mean? The things that I negotiated, the things that
Right.
I implemented because I had the power to. So I personally
Interesting.
think as long as Rubio continues on this track of just doing all of Trump's bidding foreign, Rubio has the inside track in my
But
mind.
there's so many more strong people on that side. Like, that's what's so crazy. Like, both of
Yeah.
those people to me are like contenders where I'm like, that those are legit people. And everyone on the left right now are clowns. Like, they truly are.
Yeah.
It's like the 90s before Bill Clinton came. Like, who
A
are
little
they?
bit.
Like, they don't know who they are. And like, they need the next class. And then they have like the abundance bros. It makes no sense. They can't like say things around like transgender. Like, they just can't like really say what they mean, and it comes
No.
off like, and that's why like Cuomo is floundering so much, because he's not a socialist, he is an elite Democrat. So it's like, what do you actually like believe, versus Mamdani can be like, I believe in burning it all to the ground, like, and like, even though he's like the most nepo baby fake person ever, but at
But
least like
people
him
never
and
care about
AOC are
that.
breaking out because they have this socialist like authentic thing that and everyone says like the Democrats need to go more to the left. I'm like, oh God.
Please do.
That's
Please
yeah.
do.
Well,
Please do.
it will never work. I mean, in America, just the way that America works in our states and our electoral college, and I mean, it's brilliant the way that it works because it's helped us not become Europe.
Fully
So
and completely. And the thing, I was a history major over in college, so I like looked into like a lot of things. And it's like we've been going on this track since Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson's one of the worst presidents in the history of man. The guy, was just an awful person. Helped bring back the KKK. Like he was a
mm,
terrible person. And he brought the big wave of progressivism. LBJ kept it going. FDR was awful. Like we've been going here. So like when you talk to somebody like me, like I'm someone that's like the ideology shift never happened from the South. Like they just
mm,
got smarter about it because when you look at the slave movement up to the north, you had Alex Van Buren and Tammany setting up Tammany Hall to make sure
mm,
that freed slaves in the north still get put in ghettos. So it's like it's
mm,
always been about control of the weak, and that's never
mm.
changed. And the one thing I've contested is they've always been trying to go slow to the left. Your Pelosi's, your Harry Reid's, they've been chipping, chipping, chipping. AOC came in with the squad and kind of kicked the door in and like, we're going full left and got popular. And then they had to really accelerate what they are. And now here we are. So I think it was kind of a mask off moment when
But
that
I don't think
happened.
it's as calculated as that. I think it's people are they again, it goes back to like, I think people just think that they're doing something good. Like they're like, oh,
I
we'll
don't
create
think
these
the
communities. Like, because
politicians
even AOC, like
do.
I met AOC multiple times, and like
Yeah.
I just thought, maybe now because she has power and so she's more entrenched, but like meeting her, it's like she could have been me. Like, I just feel like she's sort of somebody who got lifted up into a movement, and like, who knows what she's like now. I haven't seen her in years, but like when she was running, there was no like one in her ear being like, say this, say that. Like, she was bought into the Bernie version of the Democratic Party as a young person, the socialism light. Like, that was the world that she swam in, and that's what
Yeah.
she took on. And she didn't examine those ideas fully. She wasn't, fully well educated to realize that they're bad, and now she's a party leader, and like, I don't know, I just don't think that like people are as smart as you think. Like, it's not as calculated as you think.
Maybe
It's sort of
not.
a
Maybe
mindless
not.
blob that goes from person to person versus like, yeah, Nancy Pelosi's is
I give
strategic
him a
with
little
the
bit of
older
credit, I
people.
guess. So, with the thing too with AOC, conservatives need to stop making fun of her for being a bartender. We can't be the blue collar people and then make fun of a bartender who rose to
Yeah,
become
no.
a congresswoman. It's like we should be like, hey, dope, you were a bartender, became a
Yeah,
congresswoman. You're still
I
stupid,
agree.
but pretty cool. You were blue collar, you worked your way in college as a
Well, her
bartender. Like,
story
good
is
for
more
you.
authentic, I think, than Mamdani's, because he was
I mean,
truly like a nepo baby.
she still lived in like a nice suburban
She
area when she
fudged it a
grew
little bit,
up.
but like,
100%. She faked
but
it and then
she
she went to
was
a
working
really
in a
good
bar when she started to
school.
run.
Yeah, but she went to a really good school and things like that
Yeah,
and took a shitty major. So she had to work at a bar. It's like she did she was your typical kid that did it to herself and then
right,
was kind of found by the Justice Democrats as somebody
right.
who they saw did some activism while she was over in school. So they took her. Like,
Yeah.
there's the thing. I mean, I don't think
But I
maybe she
wonder what she
wasn't
thinks
evil when she
now.
started. Oh, now
Yeah.
she plays the game. Now she
Well,
just
that's
plays
the
the
thing. It's
game.
like now she's so entrenched, but I'm like, how can you be a thinking person? I don't think that she's stupid. And that's like what I don't understand. And like talking about like me changing my mind.
Power.
I'm like, what do
Power,
you I know it's
Lucy.
power, but
It's
like,
power.
but being on that side is like so exhausting because you're such a hypocrite.
Well, here's the thing. She's going to win Schumer's seat. If she runs for Schumer's seat, she's going to blow him out of the water. And then that Schumer seat is now a springboard to being the female Barack Obama and running for president, right?
Mhm.
She's going to be a junior senator. You have to watch. Once she beats Sumer, the whole entire campaign around her is going to go 100. It's going to fly, and she is going to be groomed to be the next
She
president.
can't
100%.
win though. She cannot win.
I mean, don't underestimate. As long as the boomers are still alive, they're going to vote for Democrats.
That's so funny that that's what's happened.
The
'Cause
boomers
that's
vote for
not
them.
what the case used to be.
The old union boomers do, because the unions always voted Democrat.
Yeah.
So it's like, as long as that, our
But they used
parents'
to always be
generation,
conservative when we were kids.
they were, well, that was the silent generation though, and that was your Gen Z. Like our
Yeah.
parents' generation was very, them and the ones before them were the start of the hippie movement, right? They were
Right.
the anti-Vietnam, so they vote very Democrat and things like that. So it is, we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see.
I don't know. We'll
The
see.
the co-host
TBD.
David chiming in saying you're speaking in pragmatic terms about an ideologically possessed party. And yeah, I guess. And that's exactly what Lucy just said, David. Thank you for commenting over here. You should be on the damn show, you jerk. But
How's your
yeah, no,
AC?
it's very, yeah, he has no AC. Thank you for commenting while you were sweating and dying. So we talk about the normal people, and it's like, it's good to talk to somebody like you who was on the other side and is kind of grounding someone like me who really likes politics, is always
Mhm.
into it, talking about it, and kind of looking at me going, dude, all the shit you're talking about doesn't register to regular people, right? Like,
Mhm.
so how do we activate regular people on our side? Because the left is really good about doing that. They pull on
Yeah.
the emotional heartstrings, and they are very good at getting that, and especially getting your white educated suburban women. They move, and from what we know about society, the women control society, period. That's just how it works, especially local
Yeah, we
communities,
do.
right?
No, I was
That's what it
kidding.
is. No, you're not wrong. That's what it is. It's always been the way it is. So how do we get these normies to sit
Right.
there and start looking at things in a little more of a logical sense
I
and
mean,
coming
yeah,
around?
I think it's happening. Like, I think at least my TikTok feed, it's such a like diverse, like I'm thinking racially diverse and background diverse people
Yeah.
who I've seen totally have similar evolutions as me, that they're practical thinkers. They've left a group think and they've left that emotional ideology. They're no longer going to be jacked up every time there's a news cycle about Trump. And they're going, hey guys, like, let's bring it back down to the basics. Like, there's so many women that I follow who are very similar as me, or people with different racial backgrounds. And so I feel like the movement really is happening, especially the way we saw with how many people voted for Trump. Like he gained with every single identity group. Like I don't
Yes, we
think
did.
anybody saw that coming. And I think that was independent media and online creators. And I think the left is just so weak right now that a lot of the people who are rational thinkers and not buying into the more extreme ideologies have found a home in that MAGA, big tent, RFK, Elon coalition that Trump built. Like, will they stay there forever? Not necessarily, but a lot of them are. A lot of them have become big MAGA people. I don't know. I'm just thinking like there's so many creators that I follow that are on the same, like have become like influencers in this space. I don't
Yeah.
see any of that on the left. Like I mean, maybe algorithm is not serving it up for me, but I just feel like the ecosystem on the right seems very, very healthy to me in the way that
Mhm.
people are talking about topics. So I think it's already happening, and it's again getting people out of the emotion. Like even if it's like I don't care how people vote ultimately, like I'm just like
Yeah.
stop getting jacked up over every single thing Trump does. Like calm down. And if I say calm down, like I get yelled at by people.
Do you
And
think the
because people are
defunding
so
of
emotional.
NPR is going to do a good job? Because I know people that just listen to NPR 24/7, and they are just as bad as anybody that listens to, MSNBC and CNN and stuff like that. Do you think that will help, the fact that that's kind of going away?
Well, I don't think it's gonna move the needle either way. Who listens
Okay.
to NPR? And also, like, they lost, like, their funding. They, like, barely had any funding from the federal government,
That's
and
true.
everyone was freaking out about, Colbert, and, we're all like, "Guys, nobody watches Colbert. I hate to break it to you."
No.
He
Only
was
people watch
losing
Colbert are like 50
$40 million a
years old.
year.
Yeah, no,
Yeah. I don't
it's
know. It's
him, the
just
rest of
it's
them are gonna go.
interesting what most of my, like, relationships and people, because I live in a very left place, like, what they care about, and it's, like, really random, and or just, like, completely different, like, things that they get upset about, and I'm like, "Oh, this is interesting. This is not registering for me." Like, I'm not like, even just, like, when Trump, like, bombed Iran, like, I think actually people on the extreme right also freaked out about that, and I was
I'm
like,
still unsure if I liked it.
"Oh,
To
I
this
liked
day,
it.
I'm
I liked
still
it.
unsure I liked if he bombed Iran.
Oh, I liked it." I liked it. But I thought it was smart. I thought it was decisive. I think it needed to happen, and I also think that Trump isn't going to do something because like he's told to. He's going to do it because he thinks it needs to be done. Like he could have. It's
Agreed.
politically better for him not to have done it. So obviously he had enough information where he was like, "We need to do it." I don't really
I
give a
mean,
fuck.
the biggest Trump flub right now is the Epstein files. The way he's handling those is
Yeah,
the
but I also don't care about
worst.
the Epstein files.
See, which is crazy. Me being the daughter of two girls, it's one of the most important things around because I do not want. And the thing is, it's not for me. It's not one of those things that's like, well, everyone's dead, so it doesn't matter. These
Yeah,
people are still alive. These victims are still alive. And the
yeah,
fact that we're just sitting there and it's like rich and powerful people, like I don't think Trump's on the list because if he
yeah.
was, it would have been used. But I
Oh,
actually don't
totally.
care. I don't care if he's on the list. If he's on the list, I want him feet first to a wood
Yeah,
chipper. I like
yeah,
want
yeah,
all of these people. So
yeah,
like that's why I think it doesn't, and a lot of people are like, it doesn't matter. But in my eyes, it does because sometimes the rich and powerful need to be held to
yeah.
account. And this is why we voted for Trump. Drain the
Right.
swamp, get these fucking people.
Yeah,
Like, that's a big thing.
yeah. I I agree. I feel like it's just not something that like takes up any like I don't think about it. Like it just doesn't get me going. Like it's just not one of those topics where I'm like, "Ugh, I'm what like I have my other topics where I like get fired up. And I do think though that there's like a conspiratorial air around it where it's like
Of course.
powerful people do shitty shit, but like it could also be that like Epstein was like fucked up and he was trying to create a situation to get
Yeah.
people trapped. And you could see a situation where it's like, oh, I'm taking on this guy's thing, and it's like, oh, weird shit was
100%.
happening in his the back room of his thing, and I never saw it. Like
Hmm.
or the P Diddy parties, you know. So it's like,
Yeah.
but then you see the content where they're like, they were doing all this stuff, and you're like, okay, now you guys are getting a little bit like
But
in
they
the
could put this
conspiratorial
all
camp.
to rest. They could put this all to rest
Yeah,
if they
which I
just
think are they
released
releasing more
everything.
stuff
They're
because but isn't
supposed
a lot
to.
of it also like we like
Well,
I
they're
don't know how it
unsealed. They
works.
want to unseal all the grand jury testimony, basically, but there's judges that are blocking it. So it's like
Yeah,
they could put this all to rest if they
yeah,
just released it. And you have Alan Dershowitz, who was accused of everything,
yeah,
by Virginia Dufresne, and he's sitting there, and he was one of the people that was Epstein's lawyer, and he's like, everything should be released.
yeah,
And for the lawyer that was accused in this to say everything should be released, he's saying like it's not as many people as you think, but there are some people on there that need to go away.
yeah,
And he's not allowed to say, even though I think he should just say it. The guy's in his mid-80s, just fucking
right.
spill the beans. But I mean, it's one of those things that I
Well, it just
don't buy
gets into,
into the
like,
full
people
ones.
be like, "They're sucking children's blood," and you're like, "Okay, chill." Like, I guess, like, my thing is, it's like, there is a distortion lens of, like,
Of course.
people who are not empowered and, like, they're just normie people who maybe
Mhm.
are not happy with their lives and they're not fulfilled and they're not, go-getters or creators or builders, and they are very susceptible to conspiracies and vilifying elites through a distortion lens that is not true. It's a projection
Yeah.
because it's coming from a place of disempowerment, and they think that like it's not to say that elites don't do bad things, but it also means they're not like sucking children's blood. Like, and that's where I feel like people lose the plot. We're between like, yes, like two things can be true at once. Like,
So if you ever found out they were sucking children's blood, would your brain just be blown? And it's like, it's all true. It's
yeah,
all
I guess.
true.
Well, it's just like so hard because I feel like every single conspiracy is always proven true. And so then, like,
Listen, a
when there's
conspiracy
one,
is only a conspiracy until you wait 6 months. Like that's
right.
kind of been like the thing. And like the Alex Jones was right jar is really full right now. Like he is all the
Ugh,
things like
he's so
he has
fucking
said over
annoying. Except for
20
not,
years.
okay, but I like live 15 minutes from Sandy Hook, so like never forgive.
Listen, he said fucked up things, but you know what
Yeah,
though? You found out quickly. You never apologize to the woke mob, even if you said something fucked up. Even it doesn't
yeah,
matter what it said because now they're trying to take the guy for trillions of dollars. They sued him for the GDP of France. Like I
yeah,
get
yeah.
it, and the thing is, the parents didn't even sue him. It was the lawyers that sued in
I
their
mean, it
name.
was so fucked up, but it doesn't mean that, like, again, like, this kind of goes back to like the independent media ecosystem. It's like
Yeah,
you can have things that, like, even like I was like really into Candace Owens when she was talking about Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. Like, I was like, I had like a few weeks where I was like a big Candace Owens person, and then like she was doing other stuff, and I was like, it's not really resonating. Like, I think I'm gonna stop watching. Like, that's my right. It's a
yes,
free like ecosystem. Like, it's like I don't want to censor anyone or prevent anything, and like
no.
you do you, like whatever your new thing is. It's like a little like not my
Well, I
cup
have
of
no problem
tea, but
saying. Here's the thing. Like you mentioned The Wire. I like some people from The Wire. I don't like all
Daily
of it.
Wire, you mean?
Yeah, Daily
Yeah.
Wire. Like the Daily Wire to me is very much the George Bush arm of independent right media.
Mm,
Very much more in that, still in that neocon vein that I've moved away from. Now, don't get me
yeah.
wrong; they do great work. I prefer them over the alternative,
Right.
100%. Like Ben, Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh, all those guys.
Yeah.
I love Andrew Klavan. Andrew Klavan is one of my favorite people there.
Hmm.
But it's like I had Spencer on the show. His son, Spencer Klavan. Spencer's amazing.
Mm,
But it's like, me, I'm more of a Blaze person. I like the Blaze.
mm.
I've liked Glenn Beck forever, but that doesn't
I was just
mean.
on Allie Beth Stuckey's show.
Were you? Allie Beth's amazing.
Yeah.
Allie
Yeah.
Beth is incredible, and it's only a matter of time before Allie Beth takes over. She is freaking talented.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like you should be everywhere though, because I think that you give a perspective, and I think Glenn would be smart to sit down and do a long form podcast with you, because
Oh,
the
thanks.
perspective it's just the perspective you give, right? You
Yeah.
give a different perspective from a lot of people that I've heard that have kind of transitioned over to the right. Because I feel
Right.
like a lot of them are trying to still placate to the right and be like, hey, I promise I'm one of you. Where
Mm,
you're more like, let me tell you why somebody in my shoes is going to think this way. And I think
mm.
that's actually more important to get to people than
Right.
actually even the nuts and bolts sometimes. Because we can sit there and doing the deep dive and the research and talking,
Right.
that could be done, right? But when I'm talking to you and I'm sitting there thinking of things and you're like, but this is what I thought and this is what people are going to think. And it's like, yeah, I never thought of it that way because I haven't been in
Yeah.
that area ever.
Right. I'm very interested in the psychology of it. And I think for
Yes.
me, it goes back to this desire and identity to want to be a good person. And that was the most important thing to me. So even when I started to realize that a lot of these ideologies didn't make sense, like open borders,
Yeah.
you're seeing immigrants streaming across and you're going, huh, this might actually hurt working class wages. And then you're like, but I
Never.
can't give up this ideology of open borders because that's part of my identity. That's what good people believe.
Hmm.
And I can't, and so now it's so interesting because I'm getting it reversed on me where I made a video today about the EPA rule that they're rescinding, which is
I
actually
saw
really
that.
smart. I don't know if you
Yeah.
followed it.
I did
And I
see
made a
that.
video about it, and an old climate documentary filmmaker, Josh Fox, publicly commented this, so I can say his name. And it was like, wow, Lucy, you've really become a right-wing nut. He goes, you've become a far right wing nut, and you're posing as a moderate. And I'm like, okay, you're not going to engage with anything that I just said, any of the
No, they
facts in my
can't.
4-minute video. You're just going
They
to call me a
can't.
right wing nut.
So what you should
And
respond back to them though is I hope you enjoyed commenting on this using your plastic petroleum made phone that you won't put down. That's it. That's it. Because everything we use is petroleum. Everything in modern
I might
America,
write
from
that.
the computer that we touch, anything plastic is petroleum. Anything rubber
That's so
is
smart. I'm
petroleum.
going to
So
start
it's
saying that.
your petroleum based phone, screen, everything, the byproducts in there, the mechanical items are all slogged and made. That case that you have to get because phones are such a fucking scam, but all of that is petroleum based. So enjoy using your fossil fuel based phone to make fun. You asshole. People are just
It's
we
all
don't
it's
have.
all ad hominem attacks
Yes,
once you
yes.
leave. And so again, though, and then you think about the people in my comments who maybe agree with me or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to be in Lucy's position," right? And the only reason I can talk is because I work at the Free Press, which empowers you to have a different opinion. It's part of the culture and it's
Mhm.
normal. And I know that also a lot of the opinions I have, I think people in my company would share, and they're like, "You do,"
You don't want
or
to be
they
an
don't.
asshole like me who just makes a podcast and does not care and
Yeah,
just
or I'm like,
interviews
"Guys, I
everyone
love
like a
fossil
psycho.
fuels." And they're like, "I don't really get it, but you do you, boo," And so, but I get paragraphs of people. I'll get paragraphs of DMs from people that I know in my personal life or I used to work with, or just people I know who follow me. DMs all of the time, every day. I'll get 10 of them when I post a video that are like, "Thank you so much. You're so brave. I could never, but
And
thank you
it's
so
so
much."
stupid. And it's so the question I have for you is, what have you lost from coming
Yeah.
out and basically, I wouldn't say you're a full on conservative,
Yeah.
but not being a leftist? What have you lost of just kind of just being discerning about your opinions, right? You might still have some things that are a little more left leaning. Now you have some things that are a little more right leaning. Have you lost a lot of friends? Have you lost what has been lost in
Yeah.
this situation?
I haven't lost any friends that like are actually my friends,
Hmm.
and I think I like there was a lot of people that I was like friends with at my old
Hmm.
job that just like
Yeah.
stopped following me and like we don't interact. And I've had some like interactions that have from personal people in my life that have been like emotional and charged, but like ultimately like it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
So no,
Which is
I feel like I've
okay.
which is fine. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think it just shows the temperature of discourse post Trump world where people are so triggered all the time that like it's not like I think into my parents' generation are kind of surprised by it. They're like, "What are you saying that's that crazy? Like you just said socialism is bad. Like it's not that deep." They don't really get it because they're of a different generation. But I wouldn't say I've actually lost anything. But like obviously, like if you work at a company where like they're like you can't say this stuff because you're representing the company, like whatever, like
Hmm.
obviously. But it's also again like I don't even think I'm saying anything like I feel like I come back to things that are like very common sense where I'm like, why are we vilifying fossil fuels? Like fossil fuels are great but people think of that and they're like, you're so right wing now. And I'm like, wait, guys, why is your mind connecting that? Because it shouldn't be connected.
Have you blown anyone's mind yet when you're like, hey, guess what? Fossil fuel is the most renewable resource we have
Yeah.
because mammals die every single
Yeah.
day.
I
Like,
know.
there's a reason why we
And the
find
byproduct,
reserves
literally,
forever.
guys, feeds plants.
There's a
Hear me
reason.
out.
Like, hear me out. Like, it's actually a good thing. And look, guess what?
We're so lucky.
Too many trees are actually bad because then bugs become 6 feet big. I don't want that many trees because when there's more oxygen, everything gets bigger. Like the science, like you want to talk about trust the science, go back and look it up. Like,
Also, we would have like no trees if we didn't have fossil fuels because we'd be cutting them down for fuel.
exactly.
Also, I made a video that was like, you realize, guys, that like in other countries, like if you don't have access to fossil fuels in like places like Africa where they still don't,
Mhm.
women 5 hours a day is spent collecting food and dung to cook for their meals, which is an Alex Epstein
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
And someone ripped it on and put it on Twitter. They were like, I love this feminist take for fossil fuels. I was like, yes, that's me.
Feminist
Feminist.
take for fossil fuels. How about just humanist, like humans?
I
Like
know, but it was
the
just
thing is,
funny because I was talking about women. I'm speaking the language of my audience. So yeah, it's just been really interesting. But I have to say, like, it's been so liberating because like when I lived my old life where I had built up 50,000 followers on Instagram, like it felt exhausting and forced. And
yeah, yeah,
again, like why these Democrats can't talk for 3 hours is because like they're just putting on an act to be good people. I swear to God. And like I was like that, like I'm like, hey guys, this is how you recycle. This is how we do this. Like I know it's scary out there, but like we're gonna it's like exhausting. And now I'm like, listen, like I know I'm not that great of a person. Like I'm just doing my best. Like I do care about my family more than like other people. Like, you know what I
you're
mean? It's just like,
supposed to.
yeah, exactly. And so it's like living, it's like, oh, I can relax, like I can breathe, like I can just be myself and like be present in my life. And I can speak from an authentic place and like I can be humble. And I am trying my best from like the little vantage point that I have, but like I'm not exhausted by it. So like that's the biggest thing that I've gained. It's almost like taking the leap and it's like so rewarding because now I can have conversations like this and just be myself and I'm
That's
showing up
that.
as myself versus showing up as an act.
And the good thing is too, it's like the realization comes with like, if I just do my part, my individual
Yeah.
part, do my skill and bring that to the
Right.
world, raise my kids and make them productive members of society, that's more than anybody joining a collective could ever do. Because if
Yes.
everybody just did that, brought their skills to the plate, used them, and just did their job, we'd be
Yeah.
a great place. And that's kind of where we were built off of, right?
I couldn't agree more.
Everybody, everyone that, everyone has a skill. Sometimes you don't always use it, but you got to go to work and just be a productive member of society. Like, this is my fun, my day job. I teach people how to drive during the day. So,
Yeah.
like, that's what I do. So it's like, that is my skill that I'm bringing. But it's like,
Yeah.
as that, and that's also a liberating thing, right? Like, you can just go, and your skill is you do a really good job at the free press.
Right.
You have the gift of gab. Like, you're good on
Yeah.
screen. So it's like you're using your skill, you're providing to society.
Right.
And it's like, that's awesome. And I am pumped that you are able to come and have these conversations because this has been a freaking fun show, Lucy. Thank you so much for coming on.
I'm glad. Thank you so much for having me. I hope I did a good job.
You did. Listen, I hope this is like another rust buster, right? Because you need to go. Like, I firmly believe that you are somebody that, like I said, your perspective is different than other people who have kind of crossed over, right? Because,
Yeah.
I like Brandon Struck. Brandon Struck had the walk away
Mm.
movement, and he's been great with that. And everyone tells like their story of their aha moment. but I don't. And like, they demonize everyone else on the left, right? They
Mm.
go back and they demonize their former group, where you demonize the message without trying to demonize the people. And I think
Right. It's
that's
the mindset.
important.
It's the
And
mindset.
I think that's important for us all to get back to. You know what? Like, yes, be in attack mode to the ideology itself, right?
Hmm.
Destroy the ideology, which difficult. We're never going to do it. Collectivism has been forever, but
Right.
fight against it, right?
Right.
But you're never going to win somebody over. Like, nobody wins me over by calling me a fascist. It's not like, well, shit, I didn't know I was doing that. I
Right.
guess I'll stop, right? You're not going to win someone over by calling them a commie. But
Yeah.
you can win them over by having conversations
Right.
and kind of, empathy, right?
Hmm.
And I mean, for lack of a better term, like, you don't want to treat them like a child, but you understand that they're not being themselves. Like you said, they're
Right.
not
It's like
looking at
forgive
things
them. They don't
rationally.
not they know not what they do for real. Like
Yes,
I think about that. I literally think I'm like they're kind of just like hijacked. And
yeah,
so
yeah,
again, like I do think about it more as an ideology and versus the person underneath. I know they just don't know any better. So we have to just keep bringing them facts and perspective, and
yeah,
hopefully like one heart and mind at a time we can get more people to live in reality. Honestly, like they
yeah,
need to get
yeah,
out of ideology and into reality, and then like you're saying, productive members of society, bring their talents to society, raise their kids well, and create systems that actually work for all of us, because right now all this ideology is such a distraction from real problems that we could actually fix. So yeah, I'm
100%.
glad you get it. So thank you so much.
And I'm happy that you kind of like, these are why I like these conversations, because you have given me a new perspective on how to look at it. And so you're awesome. So I appreciate you coming on. So once again, she is Lucy Biggers. Go over to her Substack. Now, I apologize. I'm not logged in, so don't get mad at me. But
I don't care.
this is her Substack right here. So go on and go follow her. It's really difficult. You go at Lucy Biggers or search her on Substack, and you can go and subscribe and all the
I'm
good
just
stuff
growing on
here.
there. I'm trying to grow on there, but I post a lot of the same stuff on all the platforms. But that
Yep.
one seems
Will you not
Substack's
sell
great if
your
you're not on
Substack
there.
shorts? Stop it. I'm
Substack
trying to
notes,
get your
guys.
Substack big. So there, so we have that. And then also go and support her place of work. So go over to the
Yes.
Free
Oh,
Press
I love that
here.
image.
Yeah, no, it's just Sydney being hot, okay? And the fact that women are mad. Like, can we talk about this real quick before I let you
Yeah.
go? What is your opinion on this attack vector against Sydney Sweeney and trying to call it fascist propaganda when it is mimicking an ad from the 1980s? That I
It
think it
was
was like
so funny
Calvin
because
Klein
it was
jeans that they're
like
just mimicking.
I love the waves. It was so predictable. It was like the first like, viral video of some crazy woman who like definitely is so fringe calling this Nazi. And then it was like the conservatives were like, "Yes, like I can dunk on this because it's such a bad take." And I was like, how many people are like actually calling this a Nazi propaganda? But then surprisingly, way more people were
They
sincere. Like
start
I was like,
doing it.
there's no way. I was like, one person said it, and the right's like licking their chops because it was so easy. So that was actually surprising that it was really people were upset, because people are still actually upset. So I don't know. The whole thing is I'm just kind of laughing about it. I don't really care. I feel like I'm so tired of it. And like I think it's a great ad. Like let's like it didn't make the company a lot of money.
Their stocks skyrocketed.
Yeah.
So I have an idea for you, and I think you might enjoy it. Are your acting skills any good? Because I
Maybe.
think you would be fantastic if you saw something like this and you just did an obvious parody video of being a
Yeah,
leftist again. Because
yeah.
you know exactly what they're gonna say and do. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, we have an idea as people on the right, but you know. So
Yeah,
you should
yeah,
like
yeah.
get ahead of it and just like make unhinged leftist white female middle-aged soccer mom, wine mom videos
Oh my god, that's a
reacting
good
to this.
idea.
You
That
kidding me?
that's
We
that's
Yeah,
funny.
we'd eat that up
No one will
and
know
just
it's fake.
no, no, oh my
I'll
god.
kick it
Some people,
off.
you'd be surprised how many dumb people on the right would sit there and I love do you follow Angela Belcamino on X?
No.
Oh my god. She is there as her name is the bold lib on there. And it is such obvious parody what
Yeah,
she does. And so many people for so long have been duped. And it's like
right.
to the point where the people she's hanging out with and like going and getting drinks with and like putting up are people that are entrenched on the right. And they love her. And it's like, she's obviously on the right. She's making fun of it all. Like, she talks about like, I'm 40, and this is like, she'll do like a video of her like walking with like a stride, and like, this is the video, this is the stride of a bold 40-year-old childless lib. Be jealous, Republicans, like maggots or something like that. Like, she would do something, and like her comments would be so crazy from people online. It's like, God, you guys are just as dumb as the psycho
That's
leftists.
really funny. I'm gonna do that. That's actually a really good idea
But
because I know exactly.
you should, like, whenever you see something insane, like, be like the Babylon Bee in video form, like, just come right out quick and make a quick video of, like,
People
the
will be so
psycho female
confused.
leftist reaction. Oh my god, it would be amazing, because you know how many people would sit there and be like, "I knew Lucy Biggers was a grifter. I knew she was." Like, oh my
No,
god.
that'll confuse my brand too much. I'm too new. Maybe I'll make a fake account.
No, do that, because that dude, fuck people, okay? People can't listen to your interviews, hear you, and sit there and be like, okay, she's just making fun of things. Then those aren't the people that you want
Right,
following you
that's so
anyway.
true. That's
Those
so
people
true.
are dumb. Like, maybe that's why I don't have that many followers. So I'm like, you guys are idiots. Like, I don't know. But once again, she's
All
Lucy
right,
Biggers.
thank you.
She's awesome. Go follow her. Instagram, TikTok, Substack at Lucy Biggers, and on X at LL Biggers. Go follow us on all of the socials at the Alex Cuesta Show. Thank you for watching wherever you watched from. Nate G, I saw you over there. We appreciate you for coming in. David, hopefully one day you'll be back to co-hosting. You suck. But outside of that, I'll see everybody